Hello everyone. Welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. 90 Days, Georgie scolds Darcy for making him look like a failure in front of his parents during awkward argument. In a confessional, Georgie admitted that he felt all of this pressure to have a healthy marriage. After arguing in front of Georgie's parents, Darcy and Georgie had yet another serious conversation about their ongoing issues with communication. On the latest episode of 90 Day Fiancé, Happily Ever After, Darcy and Georgie hashed out their feelings after their awkward argument in front of his parents the night prior. During the squabble, Darcy and Georgie bickered about the communication issues impacting their relationship, leaving Georgie's parents Ginka and Ivan concerned about how healthy their son's relationship was. The morning after the argument, Darcy called out Georgie for being quiet and standoffish since the argument. So, Georgie defended himself. "You share all the things with my mom on the first day and share all the problems we have," Georgie explained while they laid in bed together. "I wasn't trying to throw you under the bus or us into the bus," Darcy explained. "I just want help for us because we're at that phase in our relationship where something needs to give." But this is not what Georgie was hoping would result from his first trip back home to Bulgaria in 13 years. His goal for the first day and Darcy's first meeting with his parents was to have things go smoothly. Instead, he felt like the situation turned into couples therapy with his parents. So Darcy apologized and insisted her intention was to bond and get closer with his folks. Still, Georgie felt ashamed. But Darcy did not understand why. "You wanted them to think that our relationship was perfect," she asked. "I don't want them to worry them, and they have their own stuff to deal with," he responded. "So, is that why you don't ever tell me stuff? Because you don't want to worry me?" Darcy inquired, to which Georgie replied, "Kind of." Georgie also explained that he was worried about the optics of their relationship after starting off their visit with an argument. "I don't want to look like a failure," he confessed. "I mean, they've been in 40 years of marriage because they know how to save the marriage for 40 years. Because if your marriage is a failure, then you are a failure and you don't want to support somebody, especially your parents," Georgie explained. Georgie also admitted that he hurt his parents after moving to the United States and unexpectedly staying there for the next 13 years. "All of this pressure is on me now," he continued. "I have to prove that I make the right decision." Darcy consoled Georgie and suggested his parents are proud of him for being successful in both his career and marriage. She then promised that she is here to help and be a good partner. "I just want us to get stronger, not weaker, you know," she said while rubbing Georgie's bare chest. "Let's show your parents that we have a happy marriage and a successful life back home and in here. We can build something here too, even though we've had our ups and downs over the years. Let's let the past go and move towards the future." To do so, Darcy said she felt the need to be open and encouraged Georgie to do the same with her. Georgie then admitted that he has a hard time being open and is afraid of upsetting the most important people in his life, including his parents and his wife. In return, Georgie praised his wife for being a good listener, calling it a good step in their relationship. "This is the most open that Georgie's been with me in a long time," Darcy said in a confessional, noting that it gives me hope. But she was still not fully convinced that Georgie had changed his ways. "I'll believe that what he's saying is true and that he really wants to open up more," she continued. So seeing is believing. 90 Days, Georgie scolds Darcy for making him look like a failure in front of his parents during awkward argument. The world of 90 Day Fiancé and its sprawling spin-offs thrives on tension, vulnerability, and unforgettable clashes. But even by those standards, what unfolded between Darcy Silva and her fiancé Georgie Rusev during a recent family gathering felt like a masterclass in awkwardness. Equal parts emotional gut punch and reality TV gold. The scene began innocently enough. Georgie had invited his parents over, hoping to share a relaxed evening filled with food, conversation, and a little bit of Bulgarian hospitality. For Georgie, who often felt overshadowed by Darcy's bold personality, This was a rare chance to show his family that his relationship was grounded, stable, and headed towards something lasting. But as the cameras rolled and the wine poured, that vision slipped away. Instead of the warm introduction Georgie had dreamed of, the evening spiraled into a tense back and forth, with Darcy throwing thinly veiled digs at her fiancé, and Georgie, usually the calm one, finally snapping in front of his parents. A dinner gone sour. At the table, Darcy had tried to impress Georgie's parents with stories of her business ventures and fashion empire. She leaned heavily on her accomplishments, emphasizing how hard she'd worked to build a life for her daughters and herself. Her tone, though proud, came across as defensive, as if she were indirectly drawing comparisons to Georgie's slower financial journey. Sometimes, Darcy said with a tight smile, I just wish Georgie could rise to the occasion a little more. I've carried so much on my shoulders. The words landed like stones. Georgie's parents shifted uncomfortably. His mother, in particular, furrowed her brows, clearly unsure how to react. Georgie forced a smile, trying to smooth over the tension, but his jaw tightened. Later, while his parents helped clear plates, Georgie quietly pulled Darcy aside into the hallway. The microphones picked up his low voice, sharp and restrained. Georgie loses his cool. Why would you say that? He demanded, his accent thickening with emotion. Why would you make me look like a failure in front of my own parents? Darcy blinked, caught off guard. I wasn't saying you're a failure, Georgie. I was just being real about what I've been through. They need to understand me, too. Georgie shook his head, his usually composed demeanor cracking. No, what they understand now is that you think I am not enough, that I am weak. You embarrass me in my own family's house. The hallway felt claustrophobic, as though the walls themselves absorbed the tension. Darcy folded her arms, her voice growing defensive. I didn't embarrass you. I was just honest. If you feel like a failure, maybe you should prove me wrong instead of blaming me for speaking the truth. The words cut deep. For Georgie, who had long struggled to step out from Darcy's larger-than-life shadow, the insinuation stung. His parents had always been skeptical of his relationship with the American reality star. Now, he feared Darcy had confirmed every doubt they ever whispered behind closed doors. Clash of worlds. Georgie's frustration wasn't just about the dinner. It was about years of imbalance. Darcy, with her television fame, bold personality, and determination to be seen, often dominated every room she entered. Georgie, quieter and more reserved, often became the supporting actor in a story that was supposed to be theirs together. For Darcy, speaking candidly about her struggles was second nature. She'd built her brand on emotional transparency, on letting viewers see the cracks in her relationships, her surgeries, her self-esteem. But Georgie came from a different world, one where family reputation mattered deeply, where respect and dignity in front of one's parents were sacred. To him, Darcy's remarks weren't just careless, they were humiliating. You don't understand my culture, Georgie said, voice trembling between anger and hurt. You don't talk like that in front of family. You don't put someone down, not even a little. Respect is everything. Darcy softened for a moment, her eyes darting toward the kitchen where his parents could still be heard moving dishes. I wasn't trying to disrespect you, Georgie. I just wanted them to know I'm strong, that I've had to fight. Sometimes I feel like you don't fight as hard as me, and I... Georgie cut her off. Stop comparing. Always comparing. I'm not you. I fight in my way. But when you say those things, you don't just make me look small. You make me feel small. A relationship at the crossroads. The argument exposed the rift that had been quietly growing between them. On one side was Darcy, forever chasing validation, hungry for acknowledgement of her sacrifices. On the other was Georgie, yearning to be respected and seen as her equal, not her project or her shadow. Their chemistry was undeniable, passion, attraction, a deep connection that kept pulling them back together despite countless breakups and reconciliations. But moments like this revealed how fragile their foundation could be. In a confessional later filmed for the show, Georgie's face betrayed his turmoil. "Darcy doesn't realize how much words can hurt," he said. "In America, maybe it's normal to talk like that. But for me, for my parents, it is shame. I want them to see I am strong. Instead, they see me as weak. That is not how I want my family to think about me." Darcy, in her own confessional, looked equally distraught. "I wasn't trying to hurt Georgie. I love him. But sometimes when I feel unheard, I lash out. I just want to feel like we're building something together. I want to feel secure. Maybe I said it the wrong way, but I just want us to be strong as a couple." Fallout with the parents. When the couple returned to the dining room, Georgie's parents exchanged subtle glances, clearly aware of the tension. His mother, though polite, seemed distant. His father remained quiet, his disapproval almost palpable. For Georgie, it was his worst nightmare realized. Instead of proving to his parents that he and Darcy were solid, the night had showcased their cracks. Later, as the evening wound down and his parents left, Darcy tried to lighten the mood. She reached for his hand, offering a soft smile, but Georgie pulled back, still stung. "This is not about the show, Darcy," he said flatly. "This is about respect. If you cannot respect me, how can we have a future?" The words hung heavy in the air. Darcy's eyes filled with tears, but for once, she didn't chase after him with promises or declarations. She sat quietly, realizing that her need to assert strength had come at the cost of making the man she loved feel powerless. The bigger question. Fans watching the episode debated furiously online. Was Darcy simply being honest, expressing frustrations that any partner might feel? Or had she crossed a line, undermining Georgie in a way that no relationship could easily recover from? The truth likely lay somewhere in between. Two people with very different ways of communicating, trying desperately to merge their worlds, but tripping over cultural expectations and emotional baggage. What remained clear was this. Darcy and Georgie's love story was far from over, but the road ahead would demand more than passion. It would require respect, humility, and the ability to lift each other up, even in front of the toughest audience. Family.